What is your problem? What is your problem? That should stop. What is your problem? No, what is your problem? I'm here to address you. As soon as no, run away from this.
Tonight, a Greek Minister Brian Champon clashed with minority leadership on premises of Food Buffer Stock Company. We have details of the heated exchanges that ensued when the NDC MPs visited food suppliers who have been camping on the company premises for the last 4 days, demanding the payment of 270 million cedis debt.
They all left last night. So I am surprised that just when the NDC minority group were coming here, they regrouped to put up this spectacular show. That some people have gone to mobilize them to come back. For me, it is an insult to the suppliers.
The Greek minister is meanwhile assuring the suppliers will be paid.
But I want to assure Ghanaians that the issue is simple. They have supplied and they want to be paid. We are working on it. By the end of the day today, I will know exactly when they will be paid, and then I will talk to the secretary as I promised them. I've also agreed to meet with them next week.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Vodafone. There was a clash today between the Greek Minister Brian Champon and the leadership of the minority on the premises of the National Food Buffer Stock Company. The NDC MPs were visiting food suppliers who have been camping on the company premises for the last 4 days, sleeping, bathing and cooking there, as they demanded the payment of 270 million cedis debt that they owed. Tonight, the Greek Minister had assured the suppliers will finally be paid. On the day, the Speaker of Parliament summoned the Finance Minister, Education Minister, and the Greek Minister himself over this particular issue. More on that shortly. But first, listen to this heated confrontation between the Greek Minister and the NDC MPs. Brian Champon had accused the NDC group of mobilizing the aggrieved suppliers.
So we can take the minister is up. So we don't need to. We need to see the minister. Minister, why can't we do that? We can't do our work. Why can't we do that? You can't do that.
We can't do our work.
We are here to help them.
We can't do our work.
You are former deputy finance minister. What do you know about these payments? What do you know about paying people or payments that are delayed? You're former finance minister.
So are you saying?
Your first thing was
your first thing
you should be the last person to get angry. You should be the last person to get angry. As a member of parliament, no, you should be the last person to get angry.
Are you angry because we are
finding solutions to the challenges? Are you angry because we are finding solutions? If you could have solved it, it would have been here. Don't do that. You should not be the last person to get angry. Are we not members of parliament? We are all stakeholders in the government of this country.
Is that what you're saying?
You shout at us like that, please. You don't do that. You don't do that.
I'm saying that.
You came and said they were disrespect. It is quite disrespectful.
I'm not going to accept this. I won't accept this.
You don't do that. You don't do that.
Young man, I won't accept this invitation of yours. But what I'm saying is that this is not the route to solve this problem. This inorganic picketing should not be accepted.
We are not going to
and encouraged. So you don't bring press to a reception.
This is the parliamentary press.
No, leader. You are a leader.
Yes.
You are a minority leader.
No, you like attack me anytime you speak. What is your problem? What is your problem? That should stop. What is your problem? No, let me tell you. I'm here to address you. As soon as no, run away from this. Let's address.
And then we all talk.
We know what to do.
We want to talk to you.
We know what to do.
We want to talk to me.
Yeah, so say that. But you attack us. Anytime you walk in, the first thing you attack us. Anytime you engage us. No, stop that thing.
Stop that attitude of yours. Stop that attitude of yours.
Well, parliamentary correspondent Kweku Asante traveled with the the NDC group and the leadership. In fact, Kweku, this is the top leadership of the minority, because I saw there Atoforsen also. The
deputy
Amakufibua was also there with him, and then Minta Kando and Kudeto Ablakwa. So they had gone there to try and find out what was happening. And see what they can do to solve this particular problem. So how did this degenerate into this chaos?
So when the leadership arrived, they first went into the offices of the Buffer Stock Company Limited. They were engaging the deputy CEO, and then the agric minister actually just entered. When he came in, he stood there for like 15 seconds. At the time, Dr. Kisela Toforsen, the minority leader, was addressing journalists as to how they came, why they came, and what they wanted to do to resolve the situation. But then the agric minister thought that the minority were playing politics with the issue. In fact, he directly accused them by saying that they had actually gone to mobilize these people because he had been there the previous night. He had a conversation with the protesters, and they had left. And so only for them to resurface this morning because they were waiting for the minority leadership, he thought that that was an inorganic way of getting these protesters to return. But the minority leadership refused this. In fact, we heard from the ranking member on the health committee who accompanied the leadership, Kwabena Minta Kando. He said that that is not accurate, and that would be an insult from the minister if he insisted that they are just going to group these people to cause government disaffection.
This issue was raised on the floor of the House. If you say that some people have gone to mobilize them to come back, for me, it is an insult to the suppliers. If we had solved this problem long ago, we wouldn't have gotten where we are. And we are stakeholders in governance of this country. And therefore, we have every right. They are our constituents, they are Ghanaians. We have every right to come and have first-hand information so that when this issue appears on the floor of the House, we will know what to say.
At some point, watching the video you sent us, I realized that it became very personal between the minority leader, Dr. Kisela Toforsen, and Brian Champon. And at some point, I actually saw Amakufibua trying to,
stop the minority leader.
Exactly, because he almost was poking his hands into his eye there. What was that about? And what was Atu's reaction?
Indeed, these two have a history. At the vetting of Dr. Brian Champon, there was this Atu incident. And Dr. Kisela Toforsen was a little bit quiet when the minister was accusing the minority leadership of inorganically assembling these protesters. But at some point, he felt like he had to come in because the minister had said that Atoforsen was a former deputy finance minister. He knows how these payments work, and so he does not expect him to be playing politics with these things. Then, Kisela Atoforsen started touching the arms of the agric minister and saying that, listen, why are you always picking on me? I'm the minority leader. I have the right to be able to do some of these stores, and you are simply just picking on me for no reason.
We recognize that the economy may be broke, but even in broke economy, we provide adequately for the vulnerable, particularly these people within the social net. And so we are very, very concerned. And so that's why we came. Maybe you will take 10 to, if there's something, you tell us. It's unfortunate that the CEO himself is not here. We don't really want to put you on the spotlight, but since you are a deputy, your boss should be here, and he's not here. Maybe we'll allow you to say a word or two to us, and if there's something we can do to assist. We are more interested in the solution, how to resolve the matter. That's the main reason why we came here, nothing more, nothing less. If the problem is financing, we'll march straight to the finance ministry to get the Minister of Finance to immediately act. If the problem is something else, let us know what the problem is. We can't continue allowing them to sleep outside. I mean, some of the footages that I saw, I was really appalled because one lady was complaining that apparently she can't even eat. No, she's sleeping, been there for 3 days, and mosquitoes biting her and all of that. So we felt that no, it's something we should get involved. So we are here to help you resolve the problem.
Akriku, I'm curious. When you got there, you're a journalist, were the suppliers still there before you got there?
Yes, they were. In fact, our bus carrying the media of reporters actually arrived there before the minority leadership came in, and they were already there. Some of them were actually eating. There were gas cookers. There were other cooking utensils, and they were cooking. Some of them were lying down. So they were already there. The minority leadership did not actually go to them first. They walked straight into the buffer stock company to try and speak to the executives. They spoke to the deputy CEO who was on the scene to try and understand what exactly the situation was. It was then that the deputy, the Minister for Agri came in. So the Minister for Agri says that despite his belief that this is an inorganic way of the minority stoking the pressure against government, they've persistently assured these suppliers that they will pay them, and he's reiterating that promise today.
But I want to assure Ghanaians that the issue is simple. They have supplied and they want to be paid. We are working on it. By the end of the day today, I will know exactly when they will be paid, and then I will talk to the secretary as I promised them. I've also agreed to meet with them next week.
We'll try and get the reaction of the suppliers to what we've just been hearing today, especially the assurance that they will be paid. But this also played out on the floor of Parliament today.
And the Speaker of Parliament had actually, a few months back, had actually toured the buffer stock company and saw that he saw this coming. And so today, when Okujeto Ablakwa and then Peter Notuko raised this issue on the floor, he thought that 3 ministers must appear in Parliament to answer questions: the Agri Minister, the Finance Minister, and the Education Minister.
And so I agree that the Business Committee should program for the 3 ministers to come before the House. The 3 ministers are the Ministers for Finance, Food and Agri, and Education, to tell us why they challenge. We'll be able to assist the executive to solve some of these problems. That is why we are establishing the Committee on Ways and Means. So please, Honorable Clement Apak, you are on point, and I now wait on your reaction to this matter.
Let's quickly bring in the spokesperson for the National Food Suppliers Association, Kwekua Medume. He has led this group, and they've been camping on the premises of the Food Buffer Stock Company for at least 4 days now. They slept there, they ate there. Some of them indeed took the shower there, and he joins us now. Thanks, sir, for your time here on Top Story, Kweku. Hello, Mr. Medume. Okay, we'll try and get his attention pretty quickly, because from what we heard from the Agri Minister, they've met them, he's met them, and he's given some assurances to them. I'm curious if this has resolved the issues for them and they're ready to withdraw from the protest. Hello, Mr. Medume. Hello, Mr. Medume.
Yes, sir.
Great to have you. We heard from the Agri Minister today speaking to the journalists. This was his assurance a short while ago.
But I want to assure Ghanaians that the issue is simple. They have supplied and they want to be paid. We are working on it. By the end of the day today, I will know exactly when they will be paid, and then I will talk to the secretary as I promised them. I've also agreed to meet with them next week.
Mr. Medume, happy?
Comforting, but not happy.
Explain.
Meaning that at least we have heard something. And not only us, the media bear witness that a Minister of State has promised payment on the 17th. The media and the entire general public has heard, as you have played the voice for everybody to hear. So at least now we have witnesses to the effect that a promise has been made that payment will be done on the 17th or before on the 17th. So it is not a cause to be happy, but it's a reason to be comforted.
Are you withdrawing your members then from the premises of the Food Buffer Stock Company?
Yes, we are suspending the picketing.
Please stay with me. Let me bring in Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa. He is the Member of Parliament for North Tong, indeed the former Deputy Education Minister. He was a part of the group of NDC MPs who visited the picketing suppliers on the premises of the Food Buffer Stock Company today. Thank you very much, Mr. Ablakwa, for your time. As you've just heard there, they've withdrawn. The protest has been suspended. Problem at least seemed to have been dealt with, if not at all in the interim. Based on what you know now, after you visited and got briefed, satisfied with at least the progress made in trying to deal with this matter?
Well, good evening, Evans. Good evening, Mr. Medoma, and all our listeners. I must indicate that this matter is a really troubling one. Indeed, when we all saw the footages from the picketing, I mean, this has been a continuous picketing overnight. Our mothers sleeping rough at the mercy of the vagaries of the weather, crying, wailing, rolling on the floor. Really, really heart-wrenching images. And so I raised the matter on the floor of the House today when there was no space for this in the business statement that was presented by the Deputy Majority Leader for next week. I thought that this was an urgent matter of national interest. We should engage the attention of the House. And I must commend the Right Honourable Speaker for instructing that the three ministers for finance, education, and food and agriculture must appear before us next week to really resolve this matter. You will recall that last year, specifically on the 23rd of June 2022, the Speaker paid a surprise visit when he picked up information that the buffer stock company was in distress and that there were arrears and our food suppliers were not being treated fairly. At the time, matters were not this bad. Here we are now. The arrears have compounded. It's in excess of 270 million. And what this group is telling us is that there appears to be another group which is being favored, which is being paid in advance. And their arrears, which is about 2 years, is not being honored. So now we have some form of assurance that the matter has not been resolved. The Agric Minister who came to meet us, and I must say that the conduct of the Honourable Agric Minister initially left much to be desired. The way he conducted himself. Look, there has to be a clear understanding of the role of members of parliament. We are not just to sit in the chamber and be armchair legislators. The pursuit of our constitutional mandate of oversight necessarily mandates that we must do field visits, get to the ground, ascertain facts for ourselves, hear persons who are affected by policy implementation, policy shortfalls. And so for the Honourable Agric Minister to initially take issue with what we were doing there, our visit, and accusing us of engaging in mischief, is conduct which we will not tolerate at all.
Well,
and indeed, we are going to raise this matter before the Speaker and to serve clear notice to ministers of state that they cannot disrespect members of parliament and impede the work of legislators, as the Agric Minister did initially. I must say that he later calmed down, though, and joined us to interact with the food suppliers.
Yeah, I mean, just for clarity, you said earlier, did I get you say that you'll be reporting his conduct, his initial conduct, to Parliament?
Yeah, definitely. We will bring his conduct to the attention of the Right Honourable Speaker.
But he had a concern. He had a concern. His concern was that before you arrived, the suppliers had left the premises, and that somehow your presence there had mobilized them back there, and he thought that was mischievous.
That is not true. Talk to your colleagues. Fortunately, the Parliamentary Press Corps went in advance, and they arrived way before we got there. So talk to them. Kweku and Co, your colleague, will tell you that they met them there. I mean, look, let's treat members of parliament with respect. I take strong exception. I mean, look, we are very busy people. Why will we be going? Do we know these suppliers? Where will we find them? You know, I mean, they were telling us that they are from Boku. Some say they are from Ketekrachi, and that they've been here for days. So what? We went to Boku to tell them to come back. Look, look, when there's a problem, let's focus on the problem, on how we solve it, and stop these conspiracy theories that are illogical. these suppliers have been there for days. I mean, I would not know them. I wouldn't know where to find them. I wouldn't know where to remobilize them. The journalists who were there before we got there, and I'm told that there were journalists with them since morning, journalists who are even out of the parliamentary press corps. So it is not true that they had left, and it is our presence that remobilized them or got them to come back there. You see, I mean, why would they leave when you haven't paid? You owe the people about 270 million. In your own submission, you say that you have not paid them. You are giving them assurances. So why did the minister think they have left when he hasn't paid them? The people say they will pick it till you pay them.
Okay,
so
I mean, I need clarity.
Who misled the speaker? Who is this? It means that he's not on top of his brief.
I need clarity though. So, did you go there to meet with the buffer stock company leadership, or you went there to meet with the suppliers?
All of that. Our work as members of parliament carrying out oversight, particularly when the speaker has ruled following our application that these 3 ministers will appear before us next week, we decided that we have to get to the field, listen to all sides, and be well briefed, well apprised, so that when the ministers appear before us next week, we can carry out an informed engagement. We'll be speaking from a point of accurate information, not just hearsay.
Okay. Mr. Kujo-Tablaka, please stay with me. I've just been joined by Brian Champon, the Agric Minister, on the telephone line right now. Mr. Champon, thanks for your time here on Top Story. Let's deal with the substantive issue first. When you spoke to the press there, you are sure that at least by close of day, you would know when exactly they will be paid. I'm talking about the supplies. Do you have that clarity now? Hello, Mr. Champon? Yes. I'm asking if you have the clarity now. You when you spoke to the press earlier, you said by close of day today, you will know for certain when they will be paid. Do you have the clarity now?
Yes, we've always had the clarity that by the 17th, all the validated invoices will be paid.
And 270 million, all of it paid without a cent more left.
Well, I don't know where or who is putting out this 270 million. But what I can confirm to you is that from the 17th, all validated invoices, we will start paying them.
When you say validated invoices, you have some that are not validated.
Well, the suppliers themselves will tell you that they are still processing some supplies that they have made, and they are putting the invoices through the system. So what we have is not the final batch of invoices that they've sent to us. There are still some in transit. So what we have and processed, that is buffer stock, those ones from the 17th, we will start paying them.
Do you know how much that comes down to?
I wouldn't want to put that figure out. Because we're not talking about one supplier. We're talking about a bunch of them, and we will start paying them. Unless, we have to now put everybody's company's invoices out there. And that's exactly what I've been trying to stay away from.
And a subsequent and further assurance in Ms. Amedume is on the line. Do they have the assurance that subsequently those you've processed already and validated, as others come in, you pay everybody you owe?
The suppliers that we have validated, we will pay. We don't have any problem with that, and we didn't need we didn't require picketing or demonstration for them to have been paid. In the past, yes, there have been delays, they have been patient, and at all times we have paid. And this one, there have been delays, they have been patient. We had a timeline that we're going to pay them, and when that time is due, we will pay all those validated invoices without issue.
But clearly in this case, they have not been paid for a while, for which reason they went there. And at least it's taken 4 days now before this specific hard date has now been given them for payments to begin.
Evans, we are all in Ghana. We know the the issues surrounding the finances of the state. We cannot be oblivious of that. We've had a series of issues that had required that we check the stock of cash and who gets paid when and how. And there has been some general delays in the system. And this is really not the first time. But we've gone past that. I mean, the promise that was given to buffer stock that by the 17th they will receive the set of payments that, the request that they have made to our financial authorities. That request has been met, and from the 17th they will pay them. If they have waited just about another 30 days, they will see that they would have received their money without an invitation to pick it.
And on the small matter of the confrontation on the premises today between yourself and the minority group, Samuel Kudita Blakwa is on the line with me, and he had said that they will be reporting your conduct to the speaker because he felt insulted, that you suggested that they had mobilized the suppliers back onto the premises.
I mean, are you talking about my Odadia Junior Ukujeto saying that he's going to report me?
Well,
I think
himself and the minority group.
I don't think he will say that.
Well, Mr. Kudeta Blakwa himself is on the line. He my listeners and myself heard him clearly. But you accept that your conduct was insulting to your minority colleagues?
Well, what is insulting about the conduct, please?
That the suggestion and allegation that was made that they had mobilized, and this was not inorganic.
Where was that suggestion made? If look, let me bring this thing to the fore. Yesterday, around 6:30 p.m., I went to meet the protesters. I spoke with them, and I told them that today I will be able to confirm when they will be paid to them. And then I also invited them to a meeting next week, Friday, for us to see how we can streamline their business process so that in future, when they submit invoices, we can shorten the time that they get paid. They agreed. We had some good laugh. We talked. They clapped for me. I clapped for them. I shared in their pain, and the matter ended. They agreed that they were going to go home. This was about 6:30. 8:30, 8 o'clock, the conversation was over. I left. I came back midnight. When I came around 12 midnight, they had all left, save for 3 of them. 3. Around 12, 3 of them. Now this morning, I went there again at 7 a.m. When I went, there were 5 of them. And I suspect that even the 2 of them were the 2 new were security. But the 2 that I saw in the night and the gentleman that I met were still there. Now, I spoke to a couple of them who had reached even their destination, meaning that they had agreed to our conversation last night. Now, all of a sudden, 3 p.m. today, I get news that around 12, I got news that the people are coming back. They are coming back. And then I found out that around 4 o'clock, the minority had come in a bus with the parliamentary press, with food and water to share for the protesters. And these are protesters that I met last night. I spoke with them, everything was over, and they had left. A lot of them had left. And then all of a sudden, these same people are holding placards, crying, wailing. It looked inorganic to me. So I put out there, like, look, guys, what you're doing is most unfair. Because as far as I'm concerned, this matter was dealt with yesterday. And in the food chain of their business, I set my principle. I'm the highest person that can solve this problem for them. So if I've come to have a conversation with them and they have left, I mean, how come all of a sudden these people have come and crying and wailing on with cameras and being given food by the minority? It looked completely inorganic to me. And so safe to say that I'm accusing the minority of staging what happened today. Yes, indeed, I did say that everything that was happening there looked completely inorganic and very surprising to me. That I said, and I'm repeating that on your station.
Except that they Parliamentary Press Corps had one of our own reporters as part of that group, and they went in advance of the minority group. In fact, I checked with my reporter. It says they got there at least and waited for 20 minutes before the minority group arrived. And when they got there, the suppliers were already there. Some of them were sleeping. So it appears, if you look at those facts, this may not have been one that was mobilized within a short period of time.
But I'm not suggesting anything. I'm saying that as at last night, I was done with the protesters. The minority sent the minority press corps there because they were going there. And they followed up with food and water. I mean, they're coming there again to wail on TV and cry for me look completely inorganic. And I'm not accusing the minority, but who the cap fit.
Samakujo, will you wear the cap?
Certainly not. And that is why my Odadia colleague will have to prepare to answer questions in Parliament on this accusation. It is clear that he is insinuating that we mobilize the people. Talk to your colleague journalists who arrived in advance. The people were there. They had made that place their living place, though they were sleeping rough and at the mercy of the vagaries of the weather. They say they are from very far points. Some say they are from Boku, some say they are from Ketekrachi, some say they are from Hohoi. You know the distance. There is no way these people could have left if the minister's narration is anything to go with, to take to the bank. How can they leave at midnight to these destinations and then answer a call from us, as the minister is suggesting, and return within these few hours? I mean, we got there today at 2 p.m. There's no way anybody can go to Boku as at midnight and return. You would not even have arrived in Boku by the time we were there this afternoon. Look, the Honorable Minister should not be trivializing these people's pain, their trauma. There's a woman who spoke to the press, spoke to our hearing, and said that she's being chased by people she owes, and she cannot go home. She already, even before this picketing started, she has not been sleeping at home. There's another woman who was threatening suicide, and we had to go sit with her. The minority leader held her hands, pleading with her. Look, it was a very, very distressing